Shah Rukh Khan had a dream run in 2023 with both Pathan and Jawan making over 1000 crores. With Dunki being his last movie of the year and Rajkumar Hirani at the director's chair, it was expected that SRK would hit a 1000 crore head trick with Dunki. Now I don't know the exact figures that Dunki made, but I'm pretty sure it was not 1000 crores. The initial reviews of the film were also pretty mixed. The trailer of Dunki had genuinely failed to excite me. And with my exams and a few other things going on in life at that time, Dunki and Salar were two films that I chose to skip. But recently I did watch Dunki and realized that it's the weakest Rajkumar Hirani film. Now there are two main reasons behind that being the case. The film tackles a very controversial topic of illegal immigration. Now it's easy to show something like that in a negative light. But considering the fact that the main characters of the film were the ones doing illegal immigration, I thought there would be a nuanced take on that. Now, in the film's defense, there is an attempt to have a nuanced take, but unfortunately, it does not land. The obsession of the characters with going to England was something that did not fit right with my sensibilities. I could not understand why that's the case for these characters. But that could be due to the fact that I grew up in a different time and region. So I'll not count it as film's fault. It's me and not the film. But this clash with my sensibilities becomes hard to ignore once you realize that Shah Rukh Khan's character in the film is shown to be a soldier of the Indian army. Now that might have been done to show Shah Rukh Khan using an assault rifle later in the film and to have his patriotic speech make sense later in the film. But it's hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that a soldier would be okay with illegally crossing borders. Moreover, the characters are shown to be ready to die while trying to get to England, but in reality, they do not possess any skills that can get them a good life in England. Out of all the characters in the film, only Vicky Kaushal's Sukhi has a motivation understandable enough to justify going to another country illegally. Even if, just for the sake of argument, we consider the fact that all of those characters lived in a village and were fascinated with life in England, Shah Rukh Khan's character, who is shown to be a soldier, should have been a voice of reason to tell them to not do that. Especially after Vicky Kaushal's death in the film, Shah Rukh Khan should have been the one to tell everyone that this is a horrible idea, this obsession is bad. Instead, what we see is Shah Rukh Khan is the one who takes it upon his own ego to get these people to England illegally.
हमने इनको नहीं रोका था, तो ये कौन होते हैं हमको रोकने वाले?
And this brings me to the second point. Does the film try to justify illegal immigration, or does it portray the harsh reality and motivates the audience to not leave one's own country? I have no idea. Because on one hand you have dialogues like Apna Desh to Apna Hota Hai. Then on the other hand we have characters coming back to India after 25 years to see that the lives of their families have been changed for good because of them. This again is something I did not understand. When the characters finally reach England, we see that all they can do there is be a street performer and make whatever little money they can. At that point, the film tries to portray that the decisions made by these characters were the wrong ones, and the film could have just ended there. But what ends up happening is a 25-year time jump, in which we don't get to see that how two of those three characters went on to make a good life for themselves, and the third one is still a janitor 25 years later. By showing how the lives of the families of these characters were changed for the better, the film shows that the decision was the right one. So thematically, whatever the film is trying to say is still a mystery for me. But the point where the film nosedives for me is when Shah Rukh Khan is in the court of England and he's making a case for illegal immigration and open borders by giving the example of a Russian bird. My dude, are you serious? Forget a soldier, even a dumb common man would not think that it's a valid argument. Another thing that derails the film is the fact that it tries to be too sad. I don't understand what was the need to kill off Taapsee Pannu's character in the very last scene. Even though I think the whole arc of her character dying should have been removed from the film. But even if they wanted to keep that as a motivation for her to come back to India, just do not kill her in the very last scene. Just implied that whatever time she had left, she lived with Shah Rukh Khan and then she died. Just fucking imply that. But It did not pack the emotional punch. The scene became unnecessarily funny, and killing of Tapsi Pannu's character in the very last scene was, no pun intended, overkill. Thematically and tonally, Dunki is all over the place. And as the credits start rolling, the uneasy feeling of having watched a mess of a film starts to settle in, and slowly it takes its toll on our minds and bodies.